finish first within their own region this time. It's a scary look for KRU, but I think they need to really step up from what we've seen so far this season.
Well, there's quite a bit of aggression out of KRU to start this one out, right down through B with 4 players, and it doesn't look like they're going to find any successful fights out of that one. The A side looking to be crunched by Loud. They've got to break through that ice wall first, buying a couple of precious seconds for that flank to carry on and for them to catch Les completely off guard. Now the players dropping on the side have so many angles to worry about, and into the smoke they go, losing players along the way. A 4v2 at Loud are going to struggle to clutch out. They have at least managed to slip into spawn, though.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're trying to bait them into rotating, realizing that, okay, are we going to win this in a 2 versus 4 retake? Probably not. Maybe we can catch them off guard, but unfortunately not quite accurate enough from Pancada, and KRU are going to get themselves the pistol. Now, I'll say especially going onto this map, this is one I would expect to be slightly more favored in Loud because it's their choice. It's one that they've taken us to, especially with such a deep map pool. I have high expectations here, but if KRU can sort of, I guess, get going. That's the thing I look at. I expect Kesnet to be good, Mitch. I expect him to be unreal, in fact. Like, you see how he's played this season. He's been getting like 280 ACS, which, considering they've even lost some games along the way, really impressive. I am looking at Nags, though. If he's playing that chamber, he needs to be finding high impact, especially on this defense, getting aggressive, getting in the face of his opponents, and basically finding those openers for the squad.
Well, that's exactly it. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, but we can't say that he won't deliver. Here in the second round, it should be a nice, easy one for KRU to close out. Plenty of pistols waiting for them on the other side of that wall, but Mazzino's not going to over-aggress in this sort of scenario. I don't think we'll be too surprised to see Loud taking it nice and slow, looking for some opportunities with the Headhunter on the other side of the map or catching any further aggression that KRU might attempt. But yeah, on a round like this, you really have to be careful on that defensive side about which fights you decide to take.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think with already being able to section off most of Arcade with the wall that was down, you've also got the trap ready for in case anybody tries to bypass that angle. There's not really a place at the moment that isn't currently being watched by the side of KRU, which is going to be a difficult thing to do throughout the entirety of this defense. It's a map where that doesn't really work. Like, you have to get aggressive somewhere. You have to take some map control and then try and fight for the rest. For now, though, it looks like Loud are just looking for that. Like, where have they taken map control? Can we overwhelm someone? Can we get a gun?
The KRU have started to move towards the A side here, suspecting another drop-down play, but instead, it's the B side that's under pressure. Unusual with all the ranged angles, a couple of fights that go their way. Or at least Pancada able to take down Mazzino, some damage done. They've got the site, but, well, they still need to deal with Heaven if they're going to get that plant down, and Nags doesn't seem to be giving them all too much here. That's very clean.
Just sort of trying to be a little bit cheeky around the smoke, but no, it's going to be 2-0. Only one player lost. I think also Nags had absolutely nothing, so it didn't really matter anyway. They've managed to retrieve the weaponry. Not going for anything other than these SMGs, though, is going to make things relatively difficult, and they've actually used that to just make sure that Nags is going to have a rifle. Obviously, for him, if he can get 2 kills here, or even just get an orb, get a kill, he's in a spot where he has the tour de force for the next round, and then it doesn't matter if he dies. I
mean, even then, you got to consider with it being a map of Fracture, it's literally get a kill and die, and next round you'll be able to get one of those orbs if you commit to it early.
Amen.
So, yeah, there's so many places they can take it. So this is a very powerful spot early on for KRU to be in. If Nags can find that value with the rifle, might bridge the gap a little bit as well. But Tom, you know, Pampak might be gone, but their effects are lingering on this desk. We got a little tech pause coming in round 3. Hopefully that won't take too long. It's an important one, though.
It's almost, yeah, I put on these headphones and I could just, I could feel some sort of aura.
The chi.
That was just, so hopefully, I don't know, maybe we can burn some sage or something like that. Like, obviously not the agent, the
Yeah, I was thinking. It's a little out there.
You know, there is a brim on either side. You could technically burn sage, but yeah, I think some of the other things I want to look at on the other side, okay, say you only watch the international events, him now moving on to the chamber has been something he's been doing a lot more regionally, and it is really good. Like, he's played it 8 times. I think he's getting like 278 ACS. He's topping the board when you have someone like Aspas on your team, which I'll tell you now, it's really, really difficult because he's one of the best duelists we've got in the entirety of the tournament. So always going to be highlighting less, but most importantly, the thing I want people to watch out for is his lurks, because it's somewhat a similar role to what he would have played before, but he's now doing it on that chamber where it's almost just about those raw firefights. And especially within Brazil, he was getting some really nasty flanks. And I mean to the point where they could even be ready for his flanks and he'll get 3 kills. And he's alone on the map and no one else is there.
And we've already seen it attempted as well. It's not something that we're kind of holding our breath to see him go for. Round 2, he buys a couple of bullets in that Headhunter, and he was lurking outside of B while the team makes all that noise on north side B, goes back around a dish, and he's hoping to catch them getting aggressive on through it. Those little tiny plays, I'm sure it didn't pay off in the second round, but something to keep an eye on as time goes on. And, you know, over on the side of KRU, that's the worry, right? You have Les, who we imagine on Loud is going to pop off. We imagine Aspas going to pop off. Sure, they might not have a kill on the board just yet, but they're about to have rifles to play with in the next round. On the KRU side, like you said, I'm expecting that we've got some damage dealers here. And we've had a fantastic start from Nags, but do we expect him to match the level up against Loud every time and when the rifles come out? I'm a little bit more unsure of that.
Well, that's the issue. You've got Kesnet, then I would say Mazzino. He's the player I think is sort of almost that secondary man, which when you have someone who only plays Chamber, shouldn't be the case, I'll be honest.
Sure.
I think Mazzino's actually does very well, especially if you look at some of the other agents he plays. Like, you're not going to have him on a stage too many other maps. In fact, a lot of the time he's been picking up the Fade, which is something I think we've thoroughly enjoyed watching. Then there's a drop, though, and that's where I'm wondering if this step-up will come in. If they're going to win versus a team like Loud, Klaus, Delzik, and most importantly Nags playing on that chamber have to have a good performance. As you said, they've got off to that good start. The real problem when you're playing against Loud, though, is the depth. Because we can highlight Aspas, one of the best players in the world, no questions. Les now starting to even get up to that level with his new agent picks, but that's before we even start mentioning Sassy, who for a long time we were looking at as one of, if not the best, Sova. Like, he's definitely within like the top 3. And then you've got Sardak, who in terms of fragging IGLs, I think even he's getting like 230, 240 ACS, which, well, when you go with the other players, you have to realize there's only so many kills and damage you can do within a round. His Sky has been really enjoyable, which again, I don't know if it's something we'll see within this series, but I really enjoyed seeing him in that. So it's a trouble with playing someone like Loud. It's similarly, if you even look to a team like Optic as well, another favorite for the tournament, or Fnatic, it's like, where is that weakness? Who are you pressuring? Who's going to have that poor performance? Because we'll take Fnatic from EMEA, like, even the players that are not Durka and Alpha, you've had Enzo, before you even before you lose
Sorry,
your mind.
I started
Enzo
blushing.
having great performances. Mystic was unbelievable as well, and Bosa was still putting up numbers. So that's the thing. I feel like when you look at these top teams, these teams we think can compete at the highest level, I think Paprex falls into that bracket as well. Like, Bekkai's still been fantastic while IGLing and setting up the 2 maniacs he has within his team. So it's like, that's where I think KRU falls off, because they've got a superstar. They have got a superstar. I think that Kesnet realistically is always going to be in the argument for one of the best duelists. It's just, I don't know if the rest of the team is going to be up to that same standard, and if they're going to be Loud, they have to be.
Yeah, it's funny though, because I've come into, I'd say, a handful of tournaments in the past out in KRU.
Yeah, that's fair.
It has happened, and they've proven me wrong pretty much every time. So, I as much as I can sit here and say I think there is a clear favorite in this one, the team's sitting 2-0 right now, and we know that this team can get that snowball rolling. It's just recent form. Maybe we start to question it a little bit more, but
I think they also have to prove they can do it without Ono.
That's another thing, a huge thing.
I think even just him going over to Leviathan and them qualifying through first is enough to almost make me just go, this man must be pretty ridiculous. And I remember seeing a tweet, which I will say I haven't checked, but I'm just going to assume it's correct.
Okay.
And it was something ridiculous. Like, every time he called a pause, 80-something% of the time they won the next round. It's like, that's mad. Like, because that means whatever he has said in that moment has been something to pick out a weakness or even just bringing the team up. That's ridiculous, and that's something that's been lost, and we haven't seen since Liezo's come in those same results from KRU. And it's like, maybe that's just a coincidence. Maybe they have one bad event and we start going, that's it, party's over.
Done.
But this is a team that did get top 4 at Champions. So and there's always going to be that asterisk there that they can be incredible.
And they earned it, man. You come out of that first international event we saw KRU at, and I think they breezed through the bracket. They had a good run, but they had the easiest run out of everyone, I think. And then you move on from that event. They had tough runs again and again and again and proved themselves every time. Now it's the time again, and finally we're back into the game with Loud on that buy round that we were talking about, seeing these rifles in play. But remember, Nags has still got a rifle of his own, and his goal here just to farm up those ult orbs, get closer to that tour de force.
They gave it to Kesnet. That's the thing. They really
He's
want.
getting frags out of it.
They want the showstopper. That's the thing. They're only 2 away from him getting that online, and It almost seems like at the moment they're just playing a massive gamble, which, hey, in a round like this is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think so. Keep the guns really grouped up together and allow Nags to take those opening fights as much as physically possible. He's in a great spot to have his ulti for next round. Now we're seeing the showstopper farm up, as you said. And we're going to look at this push out to the site with quite a bit of control. Slow behind the wall as well, so no opportunity for KRU to even get close. And the plant is secured nice and open as well, Tom. They can cover this from practically anywhere, but in come the defenders. KRU are steaming in through main, using their utility to push them back. And here's a triple swing. That was not expected by Loud. Less, though, still able to hold strong. Narrows it down to just Mazzino. In main, at least. That fight's never coming through. There we go, and he's TP'd right out.
The thing is as well, I think Nags was trying to see if he could get someone to peek him jumping up on the wall. Now he hasn't got those orbs, so there has to be a moment in his brain where he goes, okay, is it just worth holding onto this gun? He's still got some credits behind him, but it does seem like Loud is stabilized. The thing is though, they're going to try and just kill them on the way out. They are making this incredibly costly, and I don't think they'll have time to do anything in terms of the defuse, but they're just trying to bait that last player in, see if they can kill off the whole squad. But all in all, bonus round, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think Mazzino was quite going to make it out of there either way, so he's just throwing in whatever little bit of impact he could have. I love the idea for Nags to stick around. Like you're saying, he's in spawn, and maybe he can fall back, but and from his perspective, if you isolate that, I think it probably is the right play to fall back, but he has a player in main as well. As soon as that Spectre is there, he's like, okay, I can peek even if he gets me. Teammate's going to trade. You're catching kills, you're catching orbs, and doing damage on the full buy. This is a perfect round for KRU. Now they rock up into this one, possibility for a showstopper, and they've got all the weapons while Loud are struggling. And Les is coming in here with just his headhunter.
Yeah. I do wonder if you'll regret using the word just.
Just, yeah.
We'll see. Either way, Sanak actually taking the charge, and
well,
sorry, Mitch,
no,
would you like to retract your previous statement?
I very much would. My apologies, Les.
That's fine.
He has got the headhunter.
Do you know what? Yeah. I will, on behalf of Loud, I will accept your apology. And well, this round is going swimmingly. Already finding a double opener. As said, Sadak leading that charge, and there's not really much opportunity here.
There's a gun there, and he's running around with the headhunter still. This is a preference. He's full bot.
Are they even going to clear this? I don't know if they will. Just in the corner, actually, Nags has managed to find one. Now, the thing is for him, saving the rifle could be given over to a teammate, and then he's actually only one away from the tour de force. So this will probably save them actually having a buy-in to that next round, and you can already see Sassy just like, well, just in case we need it, I've got my lineup of the Aftershock ready to deny any defusal.
Yeah, to be honest, I think you're going to be relatively happy with that, hearing that Rolling Thunder go out last second. I mean, it's a big old taken out. Now, I think I see the idea in that you have a good cycle of ultimates coming up and online, but that's such a valuable ultimate to throw out into the ether. Still.
See, Kesnet dying there actually kind of puts this into jeopardy a little bit. And I don't know if it's something that they'll then have to work around to try and get an orb. Like, as said, Nags is only one away from actually being able to get himself the tour de force, so that's something at least that can make things work. But yeah, like, him dying means that they don't actually have the rifle. Well, it actually means someone's given him a rifle, which I will say I agree with the decision, but sure, it's not something they really would have had to deal with otherwise.
He has also got that showstopper if anything gets a little bit dicey to start with. Early fight denied. Loud have gotten the control of those. They look to move towards this B site. They've got a trap covering south side of A, but north is open. Looks like KRU are going to be pushing through spawn, though, making these safer rotates. And the problem here, Delzic's completely isolated now. These players have smoked off his teammates and been not too well by the looks of things. Delzic able to find the one kill, a second, and still nothing to be done up against him. They're getting no control, they're slowed down, they're smoked out. I mean, this is disjointed out of Loud to start with, but a kill to pull it back, still much more needed.
They haven't killed him. They put all the utility in just to clear Delzic's position, but then no one actually managed to hard clear the angle. He was holding on an opportunity, though, for less. He's found Mazzino. That should give them at least a little bit of site control, and in fact, it seemed like the defenders had rotated off a bit, but they still have to kill this man in the tower.
He's already found the two and now has support of Kesnet to cover the cross, but they haven't seen anyone for so long. You might almost start to think maybe these guys went back. Maybe they've conceded the control. This is when Delzic starts to move back out. He's heard the spike, but now caught by Les. Oh, they've got an angle, and the spike planter has been killed. It's not on the floor, but Pancata's behind them, and they have no idea. A triple for Pancata, and the round is recovered.
definitely a little bit of a messy round from either side. I think that Loud had the right idea with the execution, but then just there was one angle they didn't check. And that one angle actually cost them that entry in towards the site. But then you also just have the fact that I feel like KRU kind of got a little bit lost with the angles they'd given up at the same time. So then you have this flank come through from Pancada. So I don't know. Well, I was going to say I don't know if either team will be happy with that, but Loud win the round, and they seem pretty happy.
They do seem relatively happy. And I think when you look at the economy of their opponents, you understand why. That round win probably gives them a fourth. And from being neck and neck to now having double what your opponents got, this is a pretty good change. Boombot through. That's going to secure them at least the info to grab the orb. They had support there as well. And after seeing that there's a player outside that smoke, they're holding a stun. There's two here. They're ready to pop the nade on the back of it. This is an opportunity to catch the nade kill on the stun, but they're not going to be grabbing anybody. At least the trap destroyed, though. That's going to put a thorn in the side of Les, staying aggressive. Not too much, though, because they're pumping brakes, waiting for aggression, and it's come in, but not in the spot they were expecting.
A lot of information on the other side. Dalzik, though, trying to get aggressive, but all of this is buying time ready and almost just trying to force them back into the angle, which is exactly what it would do. Nags now has them boxed. The thing is, though, the rest of the players starting to make their way out of dish, and just the weaponry that's currently there on the other side for KRU is going to be really difficult for them, but Aspas goes in alone.
And that old's got nothing. Pancada does well to find a double, but now leaves it all onto Sada. Quick res, bringing Sassy right back into the fight, but Nags is quick to close out the round. That Tour de Force doing big work on the B main push, and they have equalized things yet again. I mean, that was one that we came into thinking it would be relatively clean for Loud, and they got shut down.
Yeah, 9-1 for Nags as well. Like, it's someone that we're going to highlight going into the game, because I think that within his region, he was on, like, I don't know, 210, 215 ACS, which for a chamber is not a lot, but so far in this match, he's been fantastic. It might just be the sort of team atmosphere, having everybody around, or just LAN Nags as a slightly different beast, but the fact that he's been able to get off to such a solid start is Tour de Force basically willing them the round, and now, well, let's see what the one on the other side can do.
Opportunity. As we hear that ult popped out. Nade over to delay a little bit. It looks like they might want to retake the control, but the flash is surely going to stop them from doing that as they move back towards spawn. Be retake play from KRU. I mean, 4 players here, they can still afford to fight these angles for sure, but it's all about just being cautious against these pistols, not giving them the opportunities, and Mazzino swinging out wide from behind the smoke, able to take himself a double, slow that push completely, and, well, that roadblock, hard to surmount for Loud.
This is the thing, like, one of the really irritating things about Loud has been Les's lurks. Like, the amount of times where he's able to sneak in behind and basically do a hell of a lot of damage. That's why he normally top frags a lot of their games when he's on this map, on this agent. They just walled him. They just went, oh, you want to lurk him from behind? No. And they've done similar things as well with their smokes. They've been putting down brim smokes, just holding the top. So it's like, you can lurk all the way up, but you have to run through a smoke. And I'm going to guess because you're alone, you don't have a flash. So you just have to run through it blind, which, well, clearly they're keeping an eye on him. So far, it seems like KRU actually have a pretty good read on what Loud are attempting, and they've been able to shut down one of the danger men. Like, Les is currently, well, only 3 kills, and while Aspas currently on 1 is not a great sign either.
Yeah, most definitely not. A slower start than we were expecting out of some of these Loud players, and maybe the team overall. KRU having that lead coming into round number 8. And this timeout is where Loud hope to turn it around. The question we posed coming into this, was Nags going to be able to hold up to the level of Loud? And so far, it is a resounding yes. This has been impressive. But some of the rounds they've been winning, right, have been those weaker buys, being the ones that you don't really expect. Off the back of a Tour de Force, something like that. Now they're coming in, Res online, Rolling Thunder to work with. I imagine this is going to be one that I'm looking at KRU with the way they've been playing so far is maybe taking it across the line here. Things get scary for Loud.
That's always been the thing with KRU, though. Is like I feel like their BS meter, when they were at their best, was like off the chart. Like you had your little bar graph, and theirs was just like it went off the page. Like the amount of like rounds that they were winning that just didn't make a lot of sense. And if that's the KRU that's going to be turning up to the event, then well, this group might be in turmoil because we've got 2 of the top 2 from the last in this group, and they're the 2 you expect to go through.
Safety nets here for KRU, mainly that res to start with Mazzino and retake Rolling Thunders. plenty of opportunity for them there. And now we've also seen that orbital strike come through. So a very strong, at least ult economy to work with. Nice push out of Sadik. He's clearing out underneath. It looks like they're very much eager to take this B side on the Loud side. But look at KRU. Previously we had the B main aggression. Now Nags is pushing all the way north side of A, and they have nothing to stop him. He can walk up behind 4 players, but he's got an operator, so I don't know how he'll feel about that.
That's the thing, Delzik hasn't yet spotted anyone. The one time he didn't jiggle, he actually didn't see anything, but they've done it again. They've walled off straight away, but they just invest a showstopper. Just like, all right, this guy has been causing us issues. Let's just get rid of him. Let's get into the after plant. And while Nags is quick on the flank again, and again, he's done damage.
Oh, the Rolling Thunder's caught a couple of these players here. A hard fight. If Nags swings, he could have a good chance, and now Kesnet has spotted the player in the corner. He's taken down from up above. The nade doesn't manage to do anything, and Nags coming in for a third, but it might not be enough. Klaus still has to clutch this, and Sadik has thread the needle all the way around. It's 4-4. Loud barely getting away with this and equalizing again.
It's just, these rounds have been way too close every single time. Again, like the lurk just being completely isolated is something that hasn't played much of a factor, but I like the fact that they almost just go for that straight up, all right, we have struggled to kill Delzik, we've struggled to clear him from that position. Let's just bazooka him out of that spot so that we can get ourselves a plant. But even then, it wasn't clean. Like, they've done very well with the ultimates they have to make things incredibly costly. And again, you're looking at Les not actually being able to afford a weapon into this round.
And as we've seen, that doesn't matter. He'll still be able to do an insane amount of damage potentially with that Headhunter in play. Aggression from Kesnet. I mean, he spotted that there were a few players here. That was a shot onto Sassy. Just about caught him through the wall, so a little bit of damage done. But it's not going to have too much of a ripple here. I think Loud just happy to pump the brakes and see if any further aggression comes through that they can punish. Not seeing any of that just yet. And so a group to south side, and, well, depending on where they go, this could be a relatively easy take. I mean, B is, I don't want to say retake now because we've got Nags moving over onto the site itself and getting a bit of a foothold. But if they deal with him, they should have the site. Dealing with him is something else. This guy is popping off so far, and holding that with an op, I think they're about to lose at least one.
It depends. It depends where the stun's going to go. It makes things a little bit more awkward, but he's able to reposition. Nice shot from Sadak. Gives them the entry into the site. I don't know if they're going to expect Mazzino, but Aspas spins around, head gone, and so's the site.
Oh, that's devastating. 2 players dying on, I mean, practically the same spot there. And then down goes the spike, securing this. The nade through doesn't catch the planter even for damage. And oh, the response is instantaneous. KRU are moving to the other side of the map, Tom. They want nothing to do with this retake. And you can't really blame them. Their economy is in the bin. Their ultimate's not really online. You're not going to be chucking an orbital strike into this one to Hail Mary it. So that's a conceded round. Very quick. As I said, if they deal with Nags, you know, the round kind of like goes into their hands. But I think that's been the problem so far in the game, is they haven't been able to deal with this guy.
I think also the way that they played that round was a almost direct counter to what Mazzino's been doing. So a lot of these rounds, because they've been lurking upstairs, he waits until they go for an execution elsewhere, he walls it off. Instead, they run at him. Because he's not going to use the wall straight away, because why would he? He's not going to waste it within the first, like, 10 seconds of the round. He's not going to use any of the slows, because normally someone lurks through there, so you just blitz it. And again, it's just a good call from Sadak to basically go, okay, we've made them believe we're going to do this often enough. Let's use the pace, like, use themselves that extra Brimmy utility to get them into the site quickly, and it worked wonders.
It absolutely did, and the benefit of the conditioning there paying off. Now we come 5-4, and we'll see if Loud can actually manage to streak together that third round again, find the lead convincingly. We've had Nags with some incredible lurks so far, some really good flanks. This time around, the other chamber looks to catch them off guard. Les sitting in the spawn with an op, and he almost got the collide out of that. Kesnet barely surviving the nade. It's a little more than a headache.
Trades back and forth, reses back and forth as well, but it still comes out with an advantage in favor of Loud, and more importantly, they've already managed to completely take over the A site. Now, we've seen KRU quite happy to just save in a lot of scenarios, and with no ultimates online, 4v5 trying to make their way back into the A site, I think they're going to need a quick kill, or they might just opt for the same again.
Look at that trap up in Dish. They've still got a decent bit of control. Might be one less angle for them to clear on the way through. They're delayed by that orbital strike. And now, posted up on the angle was the operator. Not finding the kill.
They're just spamming ults. That's what Loud. They've been saving for a rainy day. Rolling Thunder goes through as well, and they've just delayed enough time. A chance for them to actually build up some economy. Now, Kesnet's actually sticking around. The thing is, the weaponry is far more important for them, but I guess anybody exiting through this angle is going to be in real trouble, and Kesnet, well, I don't think anybody else is going to be pushing at this stage.
With both reses committed, it's rare you see a round like that with all of those ultimates on the line and you still end up in like a 5v3 save. That's not going to happen every day.
Well, yeah, well, there was an orbital strike, a rolling thunder, res as well, used by Loud, all in that round. And that was when they already had themselves the site. So clearly they're just like, okay, we don't even want to give them an opportunity to retake. We just go, this is our round. This is a round where we make sure our money's good until the end of the half. We'll keep everybody alive, well, everybody except one alive, and it's safe. And I don't necessarily mind that. I think, okay, you probably didn't need to use the Rolling Thunder towards the end, but I guess in their mind it's just like, okay, we want to make sure our economy's actually good at this point.
Oh, with 2 rounds left to play with, we've got a pause coming in from KRU. I want to make sure that they can close this out. Now look, when you've got 2 rounds between them, Loud taking the round that they just did, this is kind of the home stretch of the half, right? Whoever wins this, well, at least if it's in the side of Loud. I don't think KRU have the chance to break their opponent's economy, but Loud can certainly hurt KRU for that final round. You had that ult dump in the last, which at least means that for these next 2, this should be just a basic shooter for Loud. They're not going to have any ultis probably rest of the half, and so that's a little bit extra for KRU to work with, but they've got to utilize those advantages the right way. That's what this pause is all about, figuring out exactly what that'll look like. Now, though, time to put it into practice.
Yeah, and the worry as well, if you're on the KRU side, is that you can expect Nags to at least do quite a bit of damage on this defensive side. Going into the attack is a lot harder, and with Kesnet being a little bit quiet, and I mean quiet for him, like he normally is just absolutely popping off, going into that attack, that is quite a bit of a worry.
Tour de Force activated immediately. Nags moving up towards Dish and Op on the other side of Les. This is going to be the chamber battle that we talked about at the start of this map. The Tour de Force maybe getting the advantage swinging in. Oh, they're so close to each other. An X drawn in the X-ray. Who's going to make the first mistake? Who's going to get a little bit eager? Oh, we found out it's Les. He wanted to go meet his teammates. They'll have to wait for the next round. 4v4 retake.
Yeah, the orbital strike actually used, but it's not going to really find much value. Slowing them down very slightly, maybe allowing for the rotation to come in a bit quicker, but instead they've been sectioned off. And I was going to say the wall has been used by Sadek, but then he just goes pushing in towards the spawn and actually finds a kill instead.
He pushed into the smoke, stood inside it, and when it faded, they were not ready for him to be there. They thought that this would be a nice little passive round out aloud after they got their spike plant, but no, they were looking to still bring the hurt. A stun, perfectly placed, perfectly timed. Well, that is an execution. There we go for Aspis. 7 on the board, and that pause, well, it ain't quite worked out for KRU this time around.
Sassy is so annoying. Like, it just seems like his utility is at the exact moment where they're like, okay, right, guys, 3, 2, and then the fault line hits them, and they're like, 5, 4, like, just start counting again. But no, Sadek, this is sort of what we were speaking about at the beginning of the game. It's like, there's so much depth to this squad, but he has really been leading by example over the last few months, like putting up some pretty hefty numbers. But you look at the way he played that, that's basically what I expect to see Aspas doing. Like, being aggressive, playing within the smokes. He doesn't have the utility to support him there. It's just, I'm the battle sage. I'm going to get the kills.
Good clear with the boom bot here. Lots of control. I'm going to break that trap. They're hearing it up close. It doesn't look like that's going to disrupt their plans, really. That's perfect. So you start this round out, Loud have 2 players towards B. These guys are not looking to go to Dish. They're looking to remove that early info to guarantee that that trap gets broken. And lucky for them, they had a plan, which was after they hit the trap and presumably get slowed, I come in with the showstopper. Well, that shouldn't. That's a gap.
He's waiting for his team to rotate first so that they can get better timing. This is so smart. You will not see this in 99.9% of games, but he just wants better spacing as the team moves onto the site, because otherwise he would have had a kill with no value. Again, though, this wall is just so annoying! And Mazzino gets away with 2. He was the last man left on this site, but he has worked wonders.
Oh, he's actually put their team back into the advantage. That spray was great, and nade through as well. Could be huge damage. It stopped the plant at least for a moment. It's put a spanner in the works for Loud. 5 still possible for KRU. That plant almost seems undeniable. What a shot out of Aspas. He's out for more. 2 kills, a nade right back on through. And I don't think he's finished swinging just yet, especially not with Sassy answering up like that. Klaus on a Spectre. It's not the best weapon for this fight.
He has no idea as well. Yeah. Like Pancada's position, it's a little bit shaky, but he gets the job done. And well, I feel like KRU, or more specifically Mazzino, might feel a little bit hard done by there, because he did an incredible job of just making sure that that site was actually delayed, but well, it's just the shots connected by Loud.
It very much is, yeah. I think on the way through, it was fantastic from Mazzino, but a good recovery by Loud. The question is, and I'll pose this to the analyst desk, are KRU going to recover coming into half number 2?
Well, a fantastic recovery from Loud there to close out the first round 8-4. But I do want to say, the top fragger and the person maybe with the highest ACS doesn't actually come from the side of Loud right now. It is Nags of all people. And Jess, he is someone that we have been a little bit harsh about in the past because he hasn't had, oh my gosh, look at that.
Look at this.
This is the Kesnet numbers.
Look at 280. It's exactly Kesnet numbers, and thank you for pointing that out rightfully. So look back to Masters 1. His average ACS over the entire tournament was 190. The man is almost besting himself by almost 100 ACS, and we know for him, having struggled with first kills, first deaths, just ACS as a whole, KD, these were things he struggled with last event, and he's kicking it off against the second place Masters 1 team. I tell you what, if he keeps it up, he's able to bring it back for his team. Maybe not in this series, but overall, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive stuff out of him, and I think that in the early game, Loud was struggling with taking those fights. Nags was shutting down, but now we have to look towards the second half, and with that, Nags tends to have a fall-off on those attacking sides. Loud have already built themselves up quite an impressive lead.
Interestingly though, Mimi, it is Kesnet that tends to come on the attacking side. So do you feel like, answering Tom and Mitch's question, that KRU, they can bounce back?
I think they absolutely can, and I think Kesnet has to be that front man. We talked a lot about the Breach Raze duo that comes out from Loud, but on the other side, KRU have that same thing going for them, and I think they showed some good ideas in the first half. They can continue that through in towards the second. We could see them maybe come out on top, but Loud, that momentum, we already talked about it, it is behind them, and I think they tend to be a stronger team on that defensive side.
Yeah, I think both teams have just shown that there is fire and there's firepower to go with. I just think Loud has such a good round differential right now that a couple of slip-ups here and there is actually not going to bother them. They'll be able to walk and cascade that on. It's going to be a nice little ripple effect for my prediction.
Well, KRU, they won the first pistol. They're going to need this one if they want to get back into this, Mitch and Tom. Let's see if they can.
It's certainly a decent task ahead of them, but Tom, you know what? I've doubted KRU in the past, like I said. I'm not going to doubt them right here. We'll see how the pistol round goes to start it, but I think it's fair to say there's quite a lot of weight resting on this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be as easy to wall off less in this second half, but we'll see. Maybe they've got a plan already, though. Looking like they wanted to go for a fast-paced B hit, but slowed down. Sadik has delayed them completely.
Nags caught as well, and that was the lurk outside of B main. He was hoping to catch the aggression. He did, but shot didn't connect. Not on his side, at least. A player less, and KRU now forced into a two-dimensional take. They've got to just come through Arcade. Not the flash that Sassy was looking for. That's gone onto the box. So these players, they're not slowed down coming out of heaven. They're blitzing in. Sassy behind this box. They know where he is, but in comes Pancada to help out. It doesn't help all too much when he goes down immediately, and Sassy just stuck on the box, but he's putting in the work. Left alone now, the stun comes in. He's sacrificing his teammates one at a time. They fell all around him, and, well, finally he goes the same way. 5 on the board for KRU.
Yeah, a Red Bull clutch from Kesnet. I don't know how they win that round. Like, everything in my brain for that round was just going, okay, well, they've locked them in early, they've sectioned them off, they've slowed them down, the full rotations come in, and KRU in the round. I'm like, and KRU in the round? Like, it just didn't make sense, but that is Kesnet, just finding those extra few kills that they needed. Another pistol actually taken under their belt as well, and well, maybe this can be the start of something for him because, as I said, what, a 5-8 first half? That is not the Kesnet we know.
Pancada, I could understand. The other kill didn't really register. I'm like, how did he even get that? And seeing it back, Kesnet, I don't think he even saw him. It was a beautiful shot over that Sage wall. A beautiful clutch As we said, a lot of weight on that round. KRU picking it up, now move into the second. Up against Pistols, already a bit of damage taken. It's out-healed at least. But you're starting to see Loud move over towards this B site, right? They've heard a lot of noise, and they're thinking, okay, maybe we start to put some more manpower on this side of the map to try to use our pistols together. Yeah. It did for a moment, but those three are coming back now. And it looks like the timing might be perfect for the defensive side.
Yeah, there's still a boom bot available on the other side if he really wants to use it, but it's more this positioning. Setting up a firing squad. Nice shot from Nags. Mazinho also going to trade things back, and now, well, you're not going to be getting through that wall with pistols too easily, so an after plant and not really much of an opportunity at all.
Yeah, I think they had the right idea getting back in there, but KRU on range with weapons, just a little bit better. You're going to wait for this flank to come all the way through. Les is taking his time on the way in addition. Obviously, you don't really mind, you know, let that wall break up. I know where Kesnet's gone. He's, oh, there we go. He's back.
I was worried for a second, but it seems like it's more on our end than anything else, and well, Kesnet, Mazinho, 1 kill is at least something, but again, will Nags be able to retrieve the gunny wheel? So it's exactly the same as the last half. You basically keep every single weapon, you don't lose anything too valuable other than the shields, and now they can come back in and actually try and do some damage here with the bonus. And once more, they're going to give Nags that weapon to try and do as much damage as humanly possible, maybe build towards the Tour de Force, although he is very far away.
Yeah, that's it. It's a long road now. I think you can still try it. Why not? But really, it's Nags with the rifle here and now that I'm looking at the value. We want to see those kills coming through. Now, they're looking at the B side, and Loud are moving to north side B very early on. That's heavy commitment, and KRU are going to be rewarded for this correct gamble.
They could get res already. Like, Mazinho got so many kills in some of the early rounds that he can actually just get straight.
Oh, he's stunned!
He's going to be taking the orb, but just look how much utility has gone in. Basenek still gets a kill. Honestly, with the amount of stuff that was thrown in there, it's not bad. The problem is, they did get that res. Pancada! Alright, just spamming into the smoke with a Vandal, manages to get a kill. They're pressuring, though. Getting rid of less in a 1-for-1 trade, and somehow we've ended up in a, I was going to say 3v3, but they just got another smoke kill.
Yeah, well, I'm almost ready for another to come on through. What else you got for me, boys? Oh, Delzik. Oh, he's heard the blast back up above, but he's not able to take him down. Loud, come out on top. 3 players surviving. It could have been a little bit cleaner, but all things considered, I think there's going to be a smile on their face. Orbital strike as well.
See,
coming in
you say
next.
it could have been a lot cleaner. It could have been a lot worse.
It could have.
Like the amount of kills they
Aspis
just got from spamming smokes.
Aspis finished on 5 HP, and I think we weren't looking all too much healthier on Pancada.
Well, they got a kill. Pancada got 1 through the smoke. Sassy got another. You're looking at a much closer scenario in that round, especially considering KRU actually managed to get into an afterplant after using the res in a 5 versus 4. So, like, yeah, I feel like Loud definitely had a few shots there that were a little bit lucky, but there's still going to be a buy on the other side. And that's the main thing here for KRU. They've reduced the purchase that's currently available for Loud, although they do have themselves an Orbital Strike, which I'm sure can come in very useful.
Well, this Loud round spread out, playing the
really
default
good timing.
They can't really afford to commit to. Oh! To overcommit to these angles would be death, but look, there it is, the nade hitting this time. The stun, nade, and 50 HP left, but he's going to be able to heal right back up, so it's only the armor stripped for all their troubles.
They've got to be really careful. Like, after throwing that slowdown, they just assumed that nobody would go anywhere near it, and Kesnet already managed to push all the way through. A little bit luckier with the timing, and he has the opening in this round. Instead, though, deep control on A. Like, you can see already for the side of Loud, they have so much information. Les already pushed up all the way deep into A main. Dish control is theirs as well, so they can have a pretty good guess that this is going to be a B-side take.
It really comes to Sadek. How much can he get from this position? And well, with a showstopper on its way towards him, yeah, that's about as much as I expected. He's now out of the round, sights lost, and plans should be coming through momentarily. Orbital strike delays for a moment, but I don't know if they'll be able to get into the position to stop this. The plant coming through, they'll guess, they'll nade. The nade is good, actually, I think. Based on that angle, it looked like it was going to deal some serious damage. Delzik left to 18, and he'll tuck himself into the corner.
Got a Molotov ready to slow them down. I think that they were hoping to at least do some damage with the Orbital Strike, but ultimately unfortunately, thus far, they've got nothing, and they don't really have anything else in terms of ultimates. If Sassy gets a kill, maybe that's the game changer. I don't know if they expected Mazzino, but he has to fall back anyway, and they will eventually clear out one. Aspas, a second to his name, but they've still got plenty more players to deal with. One of them, Kesnet, and Mazzino, the other. KRU, they will hold on in this round, and wow, bring it back to within 2.
A very good recovery. I think you saw towards the end there, Kesnet still had the nade to play with as well, so having control, nade out afterwards, I don't think it was under too much threat, even if those fights on the site itself had gone a little bit more in the favor of Loud.
Bear in mind, Kesnet got 5 kills in the first half. Just remember that number. Yeah. Just remember that when we get towards the end of the game, because he's already got 9 in this one.
I think it's, you know what though, when you come to this attack side, you're no longer going to be as spread as you were before. You're not taking individual control or one guy supporting you. Yeah, you can literally have like 3 support players there with you. Your stuns, your slows, all that going through, and then pop in the nade. And we saw the damage that went through onto Sadek, and well, a failed nade the round before that I think would have gotten the kill had it been on point.
Look at where the defenders are right now. Obviously, they can afford to take a lot of risks, but the thing is, they've already spotted in previous rounds, they don't fight Dish. They don't really watch Dish, so just seeing if maybe they'd switch things up. But it gives them a lot of information, especially where they've actually left the trap. Nade might even catch 1 or 2 here in terms of just damage, but, well, Delzik already onto the site. Mazzino going to be able to heal up, and although they took that map control, doing anything with it is not going to be easy.
I think that was a good call by KRU, and the nade goes down to continue committing. Kesnet was already through, but they almost lost Delzik to it. They needed that pacing, though. They couldn't allow Loud to reset up, slow them down that little bit more. Now time's on their side, and all they've got to do is keep them back, and by the looks of it, they've got more than enough to keep these players at bay. The Molly down, buying a little bit of extra time. They've got all the main control, great positions, and with time being as it is, look, Loud are going to try to contain them, going to try to make this as costly as they can, but the fights that they can take aren't favorable. Going through that door, there's just too many angles for these players to work with, and, well, if Klaus is going to do that, yeah, flawless. Very nicely done by KRU.
Yeah, Prime Gaming flawless coming through, and after already able to do a decent amount of damage with the SMGs in the prior rounds, their economy is going to be in a pretty good spot going forward. This, however, is where I kind of expect the change to come through. Operator up, a Tour de Force will even be there in the next round. You've got Sassy as well with his Rolling Thunder available. Like, there is a lot of weaponry and ultimates that are coming up now for Loud. If this is something that KRU break through, though, they're already going to be at 9-9 on their opponent's map choice. And considering when you look at these 2 teams in isolation, you expected Loud to almost blitz this. KRU are showing that you can't underestimate this squad.
Hello! He's just stunned him in the spawn! Spike is now there for Loud. They've got all the control, and KRU have got to be scratching their heads. The Rolling Thunder in spawn. Now they're smoking them off in Dish, trying to. But an orbital strike, it's caught Pancata. It's left him with a sliver of health. And you know what? KRU have almost come out of that one smelling the roses.
Yeah, the thing is, I understand the reasoning there of the Rolling Thunder is like, well, there's no way they just left someone stood there with the spike on his own. They did. They did. So unfortunately, it means that ultimate did absolutely nothing and doesn't reach far enough. So yeah, they've been left in a pretty awkward spot.
And here the flanks outside that's being attempted by Loud, not going to go through. There's a trap that's watching it, so they'll struggle to get any surprise on that side. Good by Sassy, and he can back out from this. This allows them to actually retake the site, set up for the 3v3, 3v2, make that with Nags going down, and that's a big scalp to take. Still a nade over on Kesnet, and still a smoke for Delzik, but they've got to take down a number of players, and less with an operator is, well, it's going to be a big target coming through B main if he catches an angle, and it's right up into heaven.
That's an important kill as well. Getting rid of Kesnet, it's left all onto Delzik, and the instant trade through the smoke. A shaky one, especially for what was committed for Loud, but they get themselves the round. They're even going to use the res for economy. I don't mind it. You're coming straight back off a couple of round losses. You want to make sure that you're going forward with actually a little bit left in your bank.
Oh yeah, this res was 100%, I would almost say necessary in this moment. Look at their money. It's still going to be a little bit of a, you know, pull out your calculators and get to work on that one, dropping them around, seeing how it works. So
that's a pretty good record there.
Loud went undefeated, 16-0 at Champions Tour Brazil Stage 2. There we go.
So they basically just smashed everyone.
They destroyed them.
For anybody who didn't know, for anybody who did watch Brazil, just know that Loud destroyed anybody who came into their path. Nags, the smoke actually going deep. gives a lot of control, but in the meantime, we've had a raise on raise battle, and Kesnet once again has come out on top. Up to 18 kills now. Again, just keep your eye on that.
Yeah.
It's actually ridiculous how good he is in this second half.
And with that in the orb, Showstopper's online, and it's making its way towards these
the
players.
He doesn't have any blast packs left. They have to break it for him.
Well, look, he wasn't going to catch anyone anyways. That's the upside of this situation, but he doesn't know that. Nade to spawn, and it's only the ropes they've got to worry about. Klaus is stuck in the open. Mazzino going to be able to trade and try to fall away. He's also got Nags here to support him. Tour de Force coming around the corner. Big kill, and even more swinging with him. Although the trades are coming through, it might not be enough. Not unless Les is able to take both of these players. Oh, he's watching main. He's holding it. Oh. Double peek. Perfectly timed. Crew will find a 9th and just about hold on.
Yeah, a couple of ults committed for themselves there, but this is the thing. I feel like there's been a few positions throughout this second half that have been almost diffed. I feel like Kesnet has just, as I said, like, what, 5 kills first half, now had 13 in the second. He's almost top fragging in the, well, he is. He's joined top fragging in the entire game. But just finding some of those early battles, so impactful for the side. But then also, just Les hasn't been there. He hasn't been able to find the impact that we expected of him. As said, within Brazil, he was unbelievable. So far, Nags has been by far the better chamber.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And it's not based on that last round. Obviously, we're saying that we came in. This guy's like just shy of 280 ACS in his region. As we said, they've been dominant there as well. And coming into this one, Crew are, well, they're bringing the fight to them. Even with some of the pieces that we said were necessary, missing, starting things out. That's risky. The nade's good, though. It's going to force Sadik out to the side. He still gets a kill and goes aggressive. What is this guy doing? The Crew are completely caught off guard by that. And now there's weapons, there's a showstopper, there's everything coming their way.
I feel like he's taken a leaf out of the Scream Sage that we used to see quite a long time ago, because he is just battling and brawling. Kesnet tag low. Aspas only with a pistol to play with, and they're locked within main right now. Obviously knowing that the flank hasn't really been battled for just yet, so they could fall back. But the thing is, 45 seconds, and they're almost just waiting to see if anybody on the other side makes a mistake.
Yeah, and you know what? When we started this round out, they had pistols, but now they've got the rifles to work with for the majority. There's no need to make a mistake. There's no need to overextend, especially with dish control. They've cleared all of Northside spawn. This means the only place they're realistically going to come from, if it's A, and they're gambling on that, is main. So Crew walk out 3 players strong, but they don't know how many are on that other side waiting for them to make a move. And there it is, a player spotted, noise made, the plant coming through, and this is where the pressure starts to get applied. Sadik caught up top, good kill for Kesnet at least. And with Delzik down, they're not going to have him on the site to be their man on the inside. This could be awkward if they end up getting smoked out, but there's no smokes left for Pancata. In fact, no utility at all for Loud.
Yeah, the thing is though, the main problem for Crew is just their HP. They're so desperately low, even the weaker weaponry, if there was any, would be able to do some damage. It may not be noted on the other side, though. They're trying to make noise. It's only going to be the one. Kesnet's still just hiding around the back, though. They haven't actually spotted him. They don't realize where he is. Just sneaking around, just hiding while his teammate takes the fight and already gets the nade down onto the spike. He's just baiting down that clock. I don't know if there's going to be enough time for anything to be done here. It's being stuck all the way by Sassy, just hoping he can get over the line, but he baited enough time. Kesnet plays it perfectly. In fact, the remaining 2 players of Crew played it perfectly.
Absolutely, and the lack of panic when that door opened, it speaks to good positioning in the first place, that they weren't exposed to the angle, but it's just the fact that they just, all right, yeah, well, that's clearly a bait. They're going to push me in main, and the kill comes through.
It's the fact that they almost just had that plan of, Nags is going to peek, and I'm not going to do anything off it. I'm just going to wait and use the clock to my advantage, and hey, they brought it back to 10-10. We now have Kesnet at the top of the board. It is truly ludicrous how good he's been on this attack. Now, that was only pistols, but it got to a point where realistically Loud should have won, and I think they're going to be disappointed even though they did. They were massively successful in a round they shouldn't have been, but they didn't win it.
Yeah, after Sadik's hold, getting those 2 kills, the insane over-aggression, doesn't even get punished, and then they retrieve weapons. They end up 2 rifles, a bulldog, and I think a sheriff up against the rest. But it was also down to how, on the way back out, Crew baited them in, right? They go for the plan, but they also have a player swung out a little bit wider, looking up top to try and catch that peek from Dish. They suspected it might be coming through. They were wary of the angles, and I think had they have walked in there willy-nilly, they would have gotten destroyed, but the caution certainly paying off. We have a timeout coming in from Loud. They dominantly won out the first half, but now they are stalling and equalized up at 10-10. The way things are going, KRU could be taking this lead back any moment now.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the rounds, like one of the rounds they won was getting 2 kills spamming through smoke.
Yeah.
Not really reliable. And the other one, I think, came down to a 1 versus 1. So they really haven't had much success whatsoever. Les still just not able to get anything done. And as said, we talk about the Chamber, all about numbers, especially on this defensive side. He has to be getting aggressive. He has to be taking fights. And I think a lot of the reason they're struggling is Kesnet's on a tear. 20 kills now, absolutely destroying within those first bloods as well, I'm certain. I don't even think I need to look up the stat because the man has just been on a tear. But also just the setup each time. Like, I feel like he's been having favorable battles.
Speaking of favorable battles, it looks like Les might have one on his hands. Up close, not in a position that I thought they'd expect, but Nags was very cautious on the way around. A good kill for them, an attempted spam. And it came very close. Might have taken some hairs off Sadic's head, and he's not too happy about it. Huge damage done. 2 kills, healing himself, and now down below, he's caught Kesnet off, and he's out of ammo. Off to the classic, and he gets the kill. Reloading below, and it leaves it into the hands of Nags. He has been phenomenal, but now he's got to get 4 more to ace it up. It's maybe a bit much to ask of the man.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, if this was later in the round, I think we'd almost be definitely calling for him to go for a save, but you've got 45 seconds to try and survive with an operator. You know his flank is currently held. I don't think Loud are going to overface this, though. That's the one advantage he has, is Loud are not going to want to lose any weaponry here. They want to try and make sure this is squeaky clean. The thing is, though, it's still a worry. Like, the Brazilians have done, well, I say, the Sadak has done impressively within this round. And that's been the main story, I feel like, of their defense so far. Even on their attack, he was normally the first man in. It seems like maybe there's some jitters here from Loud, but Sadak is dragging them through some of these rounds.
Yeah, I almost was going to say in the previous round about Mazzino and how important he had been in a number of rounds. Even though he wasn't, he's not up there with the 20 kills, but he's doing pretty damn well himself. 9 assists, all those heals coming through. And the thing is, for him, especially with that wall on B side, he was phenomenal at pulling back a couple of rounds where he gave them the opportunity. But right here, Sadik, that Sheriff on the A side that other round, and now the round we just saw unfold, he's someone I definitely want to avoid. It doesn't look like KRU do. They're moving right towards him.
The buy is awful, though. And, well, the attempted fights are just not going in their direction. Wall up on top of wall. He's just gone over the top. He was the only player who had a rifle. He just tried to wall up on a wall. And, well, Delzik is only going to get a single kill. Loud, it's been shakier in this second half, but they are ultimately just one round away from taking their map choice. And although it may not be in the style or manner many expected, if they get it over the line, they're not going to care.
I'll tell you what, that is a brave play. Coming in at 11-10 with the one rifle to say, you know what, I'm walling. I see your wall. I get it. But I'm coming up there with you.
Another wall.
It's ambitious, and you got to give him props for it. But unfortunately, there was more than one player there to worry about, so...
Thank you for getting the POV of Pancada there, because I really want to know what was going through his head where he just went, what the...
Why is he up there? Well, a timeout, and this one, no surprise, called by KRU. They need to get 2 rounds now to bring us to an overtime, or the map choice of Loud will be won out by the Brazilians, and we'll be looking on to Haven to make a stand. Now, the one thing, already this has been an impressive game out of KRU.
Yeah.
Yes, they managed to take that pistol round second half, which gives them the lifeline to push to this point. The reality is, for these guys, the next map is their choice. So it's somewhat of an okay fallback, but when you're this close, you don't want to drop it at this point.
I think also against any other team, I'd be like, okay, but sure. The problem is Loud has so much depth within this roster that it doesn't get easier. Even if it's a map that we haven't seen them on too many times, I think they played it versus NIP and it was like 13-8. Like, they didn't even struggle. Okay. They're also a team that within Brazil have been, I think it was permabanning Split, and they still played it a couple of times and won both. So that's the problem with Loud at the moment, is that they've just got so much depth within their pool. Something that we didn't really see going into the last Masters was the fact that they actually didn't play a lot of maps, but they were just winning the ones they were very good at. So yeah, I don't think it's going to get easier for KRU, but this has been a good showing. I'm just wary because of their group that... What, you're going to play Optical Guild now?
That's it. There's not necessarily an easy game. A good performance so far, but it doesn't matter how close you get if you can't cross the finish line. KRU, 2 to go. The attack side has a slow play. Again, the spike is alone, but this time it's not on the Sage.
Yeah.
A little further back, just in case. Aspis decides to come swinging around. But luckily, he's not towards that side. Instead, he's right down below, ready to put a boom bot through, and, well, that's going to give Kesnet away.
Yeah, you can see also deep wall already utilized on B. So even though you can see quite passive positions for everybody other than Les, there's still a lot of information available for Loud, and Les's position basically just locks off half of the map. A lot of ultimates, though. And I think that's something that has to be brought up here, is the fact that you've got that showstopper, you've got the Orbital Strike. On the other side, you have that Rolling Thunder available to just deny everything.
Sadik with the res as well. We don't want to see him going down first in this one, but he has been huge on these fights again and again, winning them out. Looks like the push is coming on through, and they're into the site, at least into Arcade. Still have to deal with less showstopper. Not going to do that. The TP out just in time, and look who's repositioned. Sadik now up top, and he's ready to catch them. The Rolling Thunder decimating KRU, and it looks like this is the end. An ace clutch for Nags, or we're going to go on to Haven, 1-0 for Brazil.
It's not going to happen. Sadak has just had a worldie of a performance, 13 to 10. I think a very good sign, though, for KRU fans out there.